Well, if you're searching for the perfect fragrance for yourself or a loved one, especially with Christmas coming up, Beauty EQ editor Trudy Brewer is here to help narrow down our choices and take the stress out of shopping for the latest summer scents this Christmas. Good morning, Trudy. Nice to see you.
Hi, nice to see you too. I hope I'm going to be able to answer that call.
Well, it just seems like there's so many scents around at the moment.
I know, particularly in a COVID year, which really does surprise me. Last count, and don't quote me, I think there's been 200 new fragrances this year. And all the others aren't going anywhere. So counters are heaving with all the classics that have been around for years, plus these newbies.
And there's obviously a market for this many different fragrances.
Totally. And the market is still obsessed with designer fragrances or celebrity fragrances. You know, it's just not going anywhere.
So if somebody wears a certain fragrance, then I want to be like them too. It really does work.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, you've smelt something on a friend and thought, I love it too.
Got it, absolutely. So what's on trend then? What are the smells?
The thing that I've noticed the most in probably the last 2 years is the addition of fruit in fragrance, and it gives it a sweetness, or almost like an edible type of smell to it. And woody fragrances, and a lot of unisex fragrances, even though they're not shouting that they're unisex, they are actually, you can wear them male or female. I quite like men's fragrance because it is a bit more woody and a little longer lasting.
Fragrance smells different on different people, don't you think?
Definitely, and it's all to do with the composition of your skin, how much oil you produce, and you might smell it on your girlfriend and think you smell beautiful, and then put it on yourself and it's just not the same.
Totally.
Yeah, so look out for, like I said, fruit and exotic fruit, like pineapple and peach and rhubarb. Even though that's a vegetable, I still think of it as a fruit.
Trudy, I'm pretty guilty of wearing the same fragrance year in, year out. I love it, and I'm too scared to change. I don't know where to start. So how do we get out of a fragrance rut?
First of all, I think that's okay. You know, you don't have to change your fragrance. But I think a good way of stepping out of the rut is finding out what's in the fragrance that you love so much. The thing about a signature scent that you've worn for years, you actually get to the point where you don't smell it on yourself anymore, and people around you sort of stop smelling it, because our olfactory has a memory, you know, our olfactory system has a memory. So what I suggest to people when they ask me that question is, what's in the fragrance? If it's citrus based, look for something else in that family. And there's only 4 real families: floral, citrus, oriental and woody. So once you narrow down the family of fragrance you like, you actually clear the clutter and you can actually look at something new. The other thing is, don't try too many fragrances. If you're out shopping, 3 is max, 2 is better, and spray it on your skin and leave it on your skin and wear it all day long. That's why there are testers in stores for you to try, because what you smell from the first spritz is not what you smell 2 hours later.
No, you're so
right.
So
wear it, you know, and actually live with it for a little while. Get a little sample. A lot of fragrance counters give little samples now.
And then come back if you like
and
it.
And then come back if you like it and purchase it. But don't feel pressured to buy something just because it's new. That's my advice.
And because you're there and you're ticking boxes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's right.
What about buying fragrances for somebody else? Particularly, you know, very popular Christmas present. I've had to do this for my mother-in-law a few times. It's a little tricky because, you know, I like what I like. I'm not sure how it's going to smell on her.
Yeah, tricky buying for your mother-in-law, because that could almost be like a poison pen, couldn't it? Buying the wrong one. I think that I've got a few rules. The first one is, who are you buying it for? Because if you're buying it for your mother-in-law and you don't see her very much, then it doesn't really matter, you're not going to smell it. But if you're buying it for your partner and they're close to you and you're going to smell it all the time, you want to make sure you get the right one. Secondly, consider that person's personality. If they're a big, bold personality, I'd go for a big, bold fragrance. If they're a little bit more demure and standoffish and, you know, quite happy with their own company, get something a bit softer and more floral and a little bit more in their space rather than something you smell.
Ask them what they like.
Ask them what they like. Find out what their fragrance is.
With that notion, new year, new smell, you know, new year, new me, new year, new smell. What should we be excited by?
Well, I think there's a lot of really cool designer fragrances right now, and I think this wearing, anyone can wear it. You know, we've embraced diversity in the world that we live in today, and fragrance companies are answering to that call. You know, they're not marketing fragrance to women anymore, they're marketing fragrance to people. You know, and if you want to wear a women's fragrance, that's fine by me, that's fine by fragrance companies, and likewise in men's. So there's a lot more scope, I feel, and the bottles are very interesting. I'll start with one. This is new from Marc Jacobs. It's called Perfect. Now, when I first saw that, I thought that's an interesting name, because perfection can be quite polarizing.
Yes, absolutely.
But he has the word perfect tattooed on his wrist to remind himself that he's okay as he is. that everything he does is fine. He thinks it's perfect, and that's okay.
Right.
So that's a really new one for him.
A really
I love
nice
the
smell.
stopper. It's a collection of perfectly imperfect things. And this has got the rhubarb, daffodil, almond milk, cedarwood and cashmerian, which is a synthetic, and it smells a little bit like balsamic vanilla. It's really beautiful.
That's really nice. It's quite fresh and
it's
springy.
Really beautiful, but it becomes very warm and creamy after a couple of hours. It's a really interesting scent.
I
So
love
there's
that
one.
too.
Chloe never fails to impress. This is for that classic woman, you know a Chloe dresser with her gorgeous handbag.
Everything. As you held it up to your face, it suited you very nicely, actually, Trudy.
So that is rose and tangerine. Every Chloe scent has a rose base. That one's rose, tangerine, rose absolute, and blackcurrant absolute. That's a fresh, lovely summer fragrance.
Yeah.
Nothing polarising about that. It's very simple. Gucci have a newbie, Gucci Bloom family. This one is Profumo di Flore, and this one is a floral lover's dream, honestly. And don't you love the bottle? That bright yellow.
It smells like I've got fresh flowers in my house. I love that.
I know. Woody floral, that one. Jasmine, Ragoon Creeper, which is like a little bit of it's a tiny red flower. It grows all over.
It's the jasmine.
Asia.
It's the jasmine that I'm loving in it.
Tuberose, Lang Lang, Musk, Sandalwood.
Nice. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Such a nice one.
It's, again, really simple, beautiful floral fragrance. This is a #1 seller in New Zealand, the Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue. But they've got one called Lover's Love, and I think that's a pretty fragrance to give somebody that you love. Italian Lemon, Granny Smith Apple, which gives it a real tartness. I like it. Raspberry, Jasmine again, Musk, and a Chantilly Accord, which is synthetic, so it's a bit creamy.
It is quite creamy, it's a good description,
Very fresh at first though, so you get that burst of citrus which wakes you up in the morning, but that lovely creamy sort of after smell. And then fabulous brand Mont Blanc, you'll know it for pens, but they do everything. They do fashion and they do fragrance, and this is a newbie. It's called Women's Signature. This one at first is, I know, isn't it divine? And
it reminds me of that. Was it an A that our mothers and grandmothers used to have initially?
Well, because it's got the clementine in it, magnolia, peony, lang lang, and white musk.
Oh, that's divine. I could eat that one.
I know. And so that's what I was talking about before, that very edible sort of attraction that these fragrances have because of the fruit notes in them. This one has a gorgeous body lotion, and that's my tip to leave you on. You don't have to wear a fragrance. You can buy a body lotion within these fragrance families and wear that instead of a fragrance. It's sort of like a low commitment fragrance. You still get that hint of smell, moisturising your body at the same time. It's a really nice summer thing to do rather than wearing a fragrance every day.
And you're ticking a couple of boxes because you're nourishing your skin at the same time and smelling gorgeous too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Nice to see you, Trudy. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
And for more from Trudy, head to her website beautyeq.co.nz.